with Maddie, was it difficult?
I wanted to make a film initially about trail running. Every time I talked to her or saw her on social media, she was always trail running, just obsessive. And when I asked her about the why, it suddenly went to a very vulnerable and deep place for her. And when you're able to finally then get into that vulnerable place with your character, that's where I feel like the gold is, essentially.
If you're trying to get your short film distributed, it's almost impossible. And that's why we decided to create Ilivai. Ilivai is a platform that is dedicated to the filmmakers, the athletes, and all the people that are behind some of the best shorts about sports, adventure, nature, and we decided to do this with just one goal in mind. We want to create a community where the filmmakers are finally rewarded. So I hope you will enjoy today's episode, and if you find value, please don't forget to subscribe and follow us, and thank you. I hope you will enjoy. Where is your passion for filmmaking coming from?
So something I've always said is like creativity has always been my way of survival. From a young age, I loved to draw comics as a kid, watching cartoons growing up. I was a theater kid in high school. I loved producing music and DJing. So all throughout my life, I've always been in a creative medium. And when I graduated high school, I really started to think more about what art form I really wanted to go into. And filmmaking was one aspect that really in my brain kind of culminates everything together. When you think about performance, photography, audio, messaging, like you can really deliver a very strong message and story and information through filmmaking. And I found it super impactful. And I went to school and studied filmmaking, and I really found a desire to tell stories in the documentary space. So things that are happening in our everyday life. Of course, I love big blockbuster narrative movies, which is great, but I love when we can find stories that people can actually relate to in everyday life, and we can take the very mundane or sometimes uncomfortable stories that we don't want to talk about and bring them to light and have them impact people and in a very positive way. So yeah, and also filmmaking has brought me to a space of like meeting so many incredible people, so many incredible spaces, and really just making very just cherishable moments that I will never forget. I hope other people never forget, and moments that people can take into their everyday life. So big answer summarized. Really.
Now, now that I'm hearing a little bit what brought you to filmmaking, I still don't know if I got you like a true answer of why do you like to create those films? What do you expect from people to get from your work?
I love to create films that actually have impact on people. There's so much content out in the world today,
Hmm.
which is amazing to see. But sometimes you watch content and you see it and you're like, that was cool, but I didn't really take away anything from it. I didn't really take away some value of like some message that I can bring in my life, or something educational, or something, or like a new perspective on whatever this topic is talking about. Um, and I have a background in commercial filmmaking as well. So you work with clients where, you know, you create a commercial where you're trying to solve a problem, you present their product, and then hopefully that converts to the customer. So in a way, I feel like my brain, when it comes to documentary or even narrative filmmaking, is trying to like convert the audience in a way to like really walk away from the viewing and actually have some value, like,
Mhm.
and also on the positive side too, like looking at stories and moments where you not only got like a really good viewing experience, but you can walk away from whatever you watched that I made, and it sticks in your head. It's not just like a comes in and comes out kind of content. So
Right, right.
mhm.
I like when you said that converts, because that's a term, it's a very, very powerful term that you can use for both commercial, but also for, like you said, for documentaries. Like, and then, and then the question is, like, I saw your content. I saw some of your past podcast interviews, and it
Mhm.
really looks like you want to get deeper into the personality of the characters. Um, so so what one of your main goals is like just to try to bring the true characters out of your interviews, or what you're trying to do when you say convert for that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Um, I feel like something I really lean in towards when it comes to my work is vulnerability.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like that's, as humans, that's what really connects us all, is the very vulnerable parts of ourselves. And sometimes those are the parts of ourselves that we don't ever want to share, or sometimes that we're scared to share with other people. But also in a way, it's very connecting, and it helps other people relate in a way where maybe they haven't been able to relate to it in any other way. So when I talk to my subjects in my films, I'm always trying to get to a little bit of a deeper source of why they're doing something like obsessively, or why they are so passionate about something. For example, this film Just Start, um, Maddie, I wanted to make a film initially about trail running, just because at the time, at that time in my life, I was really getting into running, and I really found that it did a lot of healing for me, and it brought a lot of happiness to my life. And um, I thought of her, and she was, every time I talked to her or saw her on social media, she was always trail running, just obsessively. And to me, there's always so it comes from a place of curiosity. Like, why would you go do this one activity like again and again? Because there's definitely a deeper source that's very complex, that you kind of want you kind of want to get into deeper a little bit. And then when you're able to finally then get into that vulnerable place with your character, that's where I feel like the gold is, essentially, for you to really explore, and then you're able to find a story and then
Mm.
share that with your audience. So
And I mean, of course, every single story has a different character, and it's a story in the story itself. But how do you find your subjects?
um I find that I've found my subjects a lot through just my everyday life, be it connection of friends, through work. um it's honestly just in my everyday life when I have a moment to see them and know a little bit more about them. And it's also something, they're doing something that I can relate to in a way. So with trail running, I'm a trail runner. um there's another film I'm working on right now at the moment that's on ocean photography. I love ocean photography. So it's around subjects that I am like very deeply passionate about, and I can relate to a lot. And I love to, and then when I'm able to find that subject and that person, that's when I can go explore a little deeper and suddenly go just beyond like the doing, like the recreation of like trail running or ocean photography or any other sport, and then go into like the deeper, the more human aspect of like the why behind it.
I mean, I think I can relate a little bit with you, because I started filmmaking just because I was watching some content about people that were obsessed with what they were doing. So in my case, it was about ice climbing. I saw some pictures of people doing that, and I thought, they are really doing this. I had no idea that people were just like going inside glaciers in Iceland and stuff like that. And I got like, and I thought, oh my God, I really want to be there and witness that. And I feel like it's not really that the location, but it's really what's the purpose and the meaning like behind why people they do that. Uh, and I think there is something selfish into that. Like I wanted to find and explore what is their obsession, probably also to answer a question I have with myself, what is my obsession in seeing this kind of content? And probably you too, you have an obsession, because I know you love ocean photography, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
You do. I mean, I saw some of your content, and you're all about that.
Oh yes. If we're gonna go back to the whole filmmaking thing, like that, ocean photography is like that is what really really got me into the whole medium. Um, because I got a GoPro and I started. I'm from Salt Lake City, but and I love the mountains, but I have a very soft spot for the ocean. It's just very it's so magical and healing, and like I feel a strong connection to it. And to take a GoPro out and into the ocean waves and just to keep shooting each wave in with a camera, it's interesting because each wave is so completely different. And like the whole feeling of being out in the ocean, these waves coming by, like your adrenaline is high, like you're excited, you're so focused and meditative, like the whole world, everything, all of your thoughts just go completely silent and you just become hyper focused. Like it's an activity that demands your attention. And then the magic of it is that you come back to your computer after and you upload all your photos, and then you get to see like, wow, what did I get? Like, oh, this one's different. Oh, this one's amazing. Like, this one came out blurry. So it's a beautiful process. And you're again, like you're just capturing everyday life where if you were on the beach just watching it from afar, you're watching these waves crash and you're like, oh yeah, they're just crashing. Like it's another day at the beach. But then when you're able to get a camera and really put it up into the wave and get like a very unique perspective, suddenly it has like a lot of power and meaning and just spectacle to it. So that's kind of like the that's kind of like the whole, I guess, like the kickstart for like what initiated me to go into the filmmaking route is that. So
What was your very first project that made you feel like, okay, what I'm doing can actually become my career? Because that's your full-time job now, right?
mhm. Yeah, I work, yes, I work full time at a creative agency here in Salt Lake, um, as a creative director, working with clients, doing tons of commercial work from concepting to directing, editing, cinematography to delivering it at the very end, and collaborating with a whole team of creatives and really just making work that we're proud of. Um, and then yeah, on the side, I spend my time doing these documentary projects on people in the outdoors, that more human experience, and really sharing those stories that are happening in our everyday lives. So yeah.
That
uh,
I guess that's not something that is happening every day, that a client comes to you and is asking for a documentary, right? It's mostly more leaning toward commercial content.
yes, yeah, every day is more so commercial, which I love too. I honestly love helping brands and companies like up their game in content, in ads, and helping them convert in the best way I can. And again, coming back to that like conversion thing, it's kind of that wanting to convert and make something really good bleeds over into the documentary world, where you're now watching a story that has more humility, and you're not trying to sell a product, but you're trying to essentially sell like a human story and have it be impactful. So
What is the most difficult thing for you to create a documentary that you are interested in bringing to life?
most difficult thing, um it's learning to work with what you have as far as like resources, budget, timing. Um, yeah, because as you know, in the creative field, it's like you have your big picture idea, but then you have to come back to reality a bit and be like, okay, like how much money do I have to work with? What gear do I have available? How much time can I realistically take off to go make this happen? And giving yourself deadlines and being real with yourself. And I think a lot with those challenges, um, I could definitely lean towards being a perfectionist and like trying to make it all work. But then having those restrictions sometimes really results in like sometimes the best work. For example, Just Start, it was for a 1 day doc competition in the fall of 2023. Yeah, 2023. And so I only had like a month to make that film. Um, well, you had to shoot it in 1 day, and then you had however many weeks to edit it. So that was the challenge. And because of those massive restrictions, I
Mm.
ended up walking away with something that I'm very proud of. Whereas, on other projects, I'm like thinking, oh, I wish I had like a week, or I wish I had a couple extra crew to help me with this, but most of the time, um, it's mostly me working as the director, the cinematographer, and the editor, um, which I love too. Honestly, it's really fun to sometimes the challenge of like making a film on your own, because especially with documentary, you get to be so vulnerable with your subject, and I feel like sometimes having too many crew members can like make your subject just feel a little boxed in and not as vulnerable or comfortable. So it's it's in a way, it's like it's both challenging, but it's also like a challenge where I go, okay, yeah, let me see if I can do this. I can take this on.
Mm.
and just go head on into it. So
Yeah, I mean, whatever it takes, right, to make the character feeling comfortable. Sometimes I heard stories of people they were not very comfortable being in front of a camera. So instead of using a camera, people are feeling, I don't know why, people that are just feeling more comfortable just being in front of a phone. And
mm,
so I had to shoot sometimes like interviews with a phone because, just to let them feel more, okay, this is less like too much cinematic or whatever, and they just like enjoy the fact. But I didn't know that it was shot in just 1 day, though.
mhm. Yeah, it was for there's an online film course called The Art of Documentary, and they have a competition every spring and fall called the 1 Day Doc Film Festival, where they challenge filmmakers to make a documentary in 1 day for production, and then however many weeks for post. But the whole idea for that is to challenge filmmakers to, again, work within the resources that you have. And yeah, and then even then, like you can still make something really good with just 1 day, with the equipment you have, the people that you have, and the resources that you have available to you. um, and it's funny because when I made this film, I knew it was impactful. I felt really proud of it, but I didn't realize the amount of impact it would have on people ever since it got published and into film festivals. So proud of that.
You've
If for
been
that.
through you've been through many film festivals, right?
Mhm.
How many
Yeah.
and where?
This one for Just Start, it's been through 6 film festivals. It's been through
Nice.
Wyoming, yeah, Wyoming International Film Festival, Maine Outdoor Film Festival, Wasatch Mountain Film Festival, Dances with Films New York, Utah International Film Festival, and then the Missoula Running Film Festival. So
That's awesome. So was that the first film that you like produced and it got accepted film festival, or you already had also other you already had some experience with film festivals before?
this was my first time experiencing the film festival
Right.
route with this one. So
How
very,
was it?
it was incredible. Like, I mean, it was amazing to see it screened in theaters and communal spaces where other people from these cities are just watching the film and experiencing it was amazing. But then also the people that you meet there, the people that are working the film festival are just so nice and generous to, you know, work with and have your film there. The other filmmakers that you get to meet around these cities
Mm.
and talk about projects and how their film was made, and just again that filmmaking community is awesome. And then traveling, of course. I love to travel. So getting to see all of these cities that some of them I've been exploring for the first time, it was just awesome. It's just incredible. I think any filmmaker, like, regardless of if your film is like a minute long to 3 hours long, like, submit it for sure to get the full experience. So,
I agree. I
mhm.
agree. And people, they are feeling discouraged because they have, let's say, a 5 to 10 minutes film. They say, oh, maybe this is not long enough for a film festival. But then I personally saw that festivals, they are looking for that kind of content just to, I want to say, fill the gaps. But sometimes it's true. Like you have films that are like 37 minutes or 20, 22. And, your film is actually connected in some way to that film, and that they can like put two films in the same date. And it's actually working now, and you should always try.
Mhm.
Get your
Yeah,
film to get seen. It's great.
yeah. No, I agree. And it's funny too with the length, because also in the competition they said it has to be under 8 minutes. So uh that was also really challenging too, is like keeping it in a very short, concise form. Um, but I wouldn't change it any other way. And I mean, I don't know if it's the attention span of today's day and age, or
Hmm.
uh the context, but sometimes shorter is better. I'm learning more and more, I feel like. Um, so yeah, again, just really awesome experience.
I mean, I agree with you, but then it's really also on the side of the filmmaker to being able to. I mean, people, they say the longer the story, the harder it is to have that, like, keep people's attention, and you have to make it like very like a strong story, or a strong narrative. But then when it's short, I mean, it's not easier at all. Like for example, Just Start, you watch that and you're able to feel emotions in just 7 minutes. For me, that's super powerful. Like, so,
Thank you.
like, so, yeah, so you did an amazing job there, because it's not easy to being able to bring up emotions in such a short period of time, to connect with the character. So that was really awesome to watch.
Thank you. Yeah, I really appreciate that. It was definitely a, like, just a whole, it was a really good, challenging experience to take the viewer through a very heavy set of emotions and come out on the other side in a very short span of time. So really, yeah, again, like a very challenging but also very rewarding experience overall.
You're saying very challenging. What was the most difficult thing to do? Was it because of you had just one day to put it together, or was on the editing side? What was the most challenging thing?
The most challenging thing was just trying to make the story as concise as it can be with delivering the same effect of emotion. Um, and because I feel like in storytelling, and I mean, especially if you're a filmmaker and you've recorded like a very long interview and you have a lot to work with, you do have to be very intentional about where you're going to cut out things that just really aren't necessary and aren't going to add to the story. If anything, it's like just a little more fluff. Um, which again, I think I attribute that to my commercial filmmaking brain, because again, when you're making deliverables that are like 30 seconds to 15 seconds and you got to like deliver all this compact information and make it cohesive, um, I think that's where my brain kicks in with documentary as well. It's like, what is essential here, and what can we like throw out and be okay with, to really make that effective. So
Yeah,
mhm.
yeah, I hear you. Absolutely. And with Maddie, was it difficult to bring out emotions, or was she pretty open to collaborate with you?
She was actually very open to collaborate with me. Um, we had worked together before at a company and stayed in touch. And when I asked her about the why behind why she trail runs, it suddenly went to a very vulnerable and deep place for her. And I wanted to make sure as a filmmaker that I like she is safe with me. I will like treat her information that she shares with me like very sacred and put a lot of trust in me to like craft her story. So when I was able to interview with her, we did go to those deeper questions where it gets very dark and it gets very you reminisce off of a lot of traumas. And she was just absolutely just amazing to work with. And I thank her so much still to this day on letting me share her story on a topic like this. And yeah, she's the golden soul. She was just amazing to work with on this project. So
Well, I guess there was a little bit, there must have been like connection between you and her that, the kind of connection worked pretty well to bring the story out and being able to see her like being vulnerable in front of the camera.
mhm. Yeah, we definitely worked closely at our past job, and we stayed in touch ever since. And we relate a lot on the topic of mental health as well. So, and also trail running. So already having that connection as well, and me allowing her to share her story in those themes really helped us collaborate on everything that went into this film with her. And again, she was amazing to work with, and letting me ask her some of those questions that might be uncomfortable to share with. And also running too, like in that film, I made her sprint up so many mountains on that day and just say like, okay, that was great again. Okay, here we go again. So we got a good workout of it. um but yeah, again, it was just super grateful for everything that she shared. And um this film has also, and she shared this with me, this film has helped her on her healing journey as well. So I feel just forever grateful that I've been able to give that gift to her. And it's an exchange of gifts, like her
All right.
with healing, me allowing me to make a film and go into this creative realm. So it's been great.
I like to discover why people are obsessed with sports. And the thing, like you mentioned, is mental health. Uh, why can you share a little more about that? So, why is that topic important for you?
Yeah. Um, in my life, I've battled with my own set of mental health challenges, ranging from depression to anxiety, uh, having really dark moments. And trail running for me came at a time where that was helping me on my healing journey. And I think it helps me, and I'm probably speaking for a lot of other people as well who are trail runners, in that there's something really cathartic and meditative about doing something very challenging, trail running, where you're out in the wilderness, your elevation is going up and down. You could be running a long distance. You're facing extreme fatigue and you're putting your body really through it. And for me personally, I found like a lot of confidence through doing trail running, a lot of confidence in doing something very challenging. And also, flip side of that, also a lot of beauty as well. Trail running is able to take you to such beautiful places and areas where you're just engulfed in the outdoors, and it's just you, yourself, and the outdoor world. So you can't really run from yourself, even though you are
Hmm.
running. And putting yourself through that much exertion, it's I don't know, it's a mix of like adrenaline, and you're feeling everything come up, but you're choosing to stay strong and run through it. I think a lot of people get a very cathartic feeling through running, and when they finish a run and they were just exhausted and they gave it their all, it definitely it you know chemically releases a lot of endorphins, of course, but there's something very just inspiring about what you just did to go through that. And yeah, I feel like I just went all over the map with that answer, but that's kind of like my thought process when it comes to sports, and specifically trail running in this case with mental health. So
trail running is this your sweet spot where you can find a moment just to be by yourself and feeling more comfortable and getting out of that difficult moment that you had when you were younger, let's say.
yeah, it's a lot of like, again, it's a lot of proving to myself that I can do hard things and I can get through hard things. And especially in the outdoors too, like I find a lot of my meditation and my moments of zen when I'm out on the trail and I'm surrounded by nothing but the mountains and trees and rocks and wildlife. It releases me from my everyday worries and a lot of my things that I hold on to negatively, and it helps me release a lot of that, and it makes me come back to my best genuine self. And there's something, I'm a little crazy when it comes to trail running, but there's something about like wanting to sprint up a very steep incline mountain where I just get this feeling of like, I'm going to do it. Even if I struggle a little bit, I'm still going to do it, you know? And you feel empowered afterwards, but with doing something like that. And then also trail running too, like in my experience, I've met so many great people through the sport as well that can relate and, resonate on those themes of mental health and the outdoors and being your best version of yourself. So,
Is there anything that you just said uh, that you can also apply to filmmaking?
yes. Oh man. Yeah, I feel like it bleeds so much into filmmaking. It's funny. I've now adapted the mindset of like running a race, like a trail running race, a lot into filmmaking, where if you have moments where there's a problem on set in production where it's like you're running low on time, or you only have so much memory left on a memory card, or you have to appease to like the client's needs. It's just like hitting a little steep slope on the mountain. You're like, oh, okay, this is going to be a bit of a struggle, but we're still going to make it. And you just still keep pushing on forward, you know? And when you're running, like you see it through. So no matter what project I'm working on, like I'm always going to see it through no matter what. Even if I do have all of these roadblocks and obstacles, it's like, you can't stop. You just got to keep going, So I think a lot of it creates a lot of like endurance and callous for filmmaking as well. Just having a lot of patience, a lot of like, patience is the biggest thing that I come back to for that. So yeah.
And so, I mean, filmmaker, I don't feel like filmmaking is for everybody. It's tough. Now, I mean, it's probably tougher than it used to be in the past, probably because gear is more accessible, because everybody can say that they can do content. But then there is like content and there's like stories. And I feel like you are more on the story side. You are able to do that. So you have a little bit of experience, I can say that. I mean, more than a little bit, but you have a little bit of experience as a filmmaker with your films that went through film festivals. So if you had to give a piece of advice to somebody who would like to start creating stories rather than just like switching from content the content mentality to create stories, where would you suggest people to start with?
Mm, it's a great question. Uh, if you want to create stories, if you want to be a filmmaker and actually create stories and not content, don't jump on Instagram or any of the social media sites. You can a little bit, maybe on YouTube and Vimeo. There's good stuff there, but if you want to see good filmmaking and create stories, like go to the theater and watch movies, go on Netflix and watch documentaries that are being made today. Because content is, it's short form for a reason, because it's a little bit of stimulation that your brain gets, and then you're going to forget about it. It's not going to make, maybe it might make some impact, but I think largely it's not going to do as much impact for you, versus if you create a story, that's going to have a longer term effect on your viewer. They're going to be able to remember how they felt watching that. They're going to remember something they learned, something that they'll probably take forever in their life, whether that's a funny moment, a sad moment, something educational. And I think if you wanted to get started, I start with what you have. Start with, the resources available to you. If you don't have a camera, use your phone. If you don't have a phone, like use a friend's phone, a family member's phone.
Everybody
And
has a phone anyway. So,
everybody has
yeah.
a phone. Whoever doesn't have a phone. And yeah, just find people in your area. You don't have to like search for somebody across the globe who's doing something absolutely insane. Like there are always interesting stories happening around us that somebody just needs, a filmmaker needs to be the one to like make that come to the surface. And yeah, just start there. That's what I would say.
Just start.
Just start. Literally. Yeah. Yeah, just start. Like don't overthink it. Yeah, don't just like get out there and do it.
Thanks. Well, good luck with everything. Good luck with your new production, and can't wait to see that too.
Awesome. Thank you, Francesco.
Sure.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. If you found value on today's episode, please don't forget to like and subscribe to our content. That will mean the world to us. Every single week, we are going to share insights from filmmakers, athletes, and all the people behind some of the best short films. Hope you liked it and hope to see you soon. Thanks.